So welcome everyone to today's session, 10 tremendous growth opportunities for brands selling into China. In today's session, we'll share with you what makes China such a strong opportunity for brands, organizations, and businesses right now, and the strategies and the tactics that are available to give you an edge and an advantage if you choose to take advantage of those. To do that, we're joined by two very special guests, Zarina Kanji from Tmall, which is the dominant marketplace in China operated by Alibaba Group. Zarina will take you through the health trends in China, some of the shopping festivals and the trends around those and how to take advantage of those, as well as live streaming campaigns and how powerful they can be. We're also joined by Thomas Graziani, co-founder of WalktheChat, who specialize in WeChat stores, so you can use those to sell certain products through your own WeChat store. And Thomas will take you through the recovery in China, e-commerce, and those WeChat Mini-Program stores. On the Ad China side, I'm Brad, and I research and create educational content around the tech tools and innovations around Chinese advertising. I'll share with you part of today's presentation around the branding and advertising, and joining me will be Yulman, who will cover the KOLs and the short video. Later, at the end of the session, you'll be joined by Henrik, a serial entrepreneur and China marketing expert, and of course our guests, and we'll go through the questions from today's session. So if you have any questions, either now or during the presentation, feel free to pop those into the chat. And if you want to get specific and ask specifically about your industry or niche or anything like that, please go ahead. That's exactly why the chat widget's there. So whether or not we dive in deep to your particular niche, feel free to ask that in chat anyway. We are happy to get specific. Just to explain who we are and what we do at AdChina.io, we help organizations, brands, and businesses to get set up and advertise and sell into China. So diving into things, I'd like to invite Zarina from Tmall to kick things off. Welcome, Zarina.
Thanks, Brad. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for having me here today. So as Brad mentioned, I'm going to talk through three topics amongst growth opportunities for brands selling into China. So just to sort of set the scene a little bit and explain what Tmall and Tmall Global is. So Tmall Global enables brands, international brands, to enter the China market. So it's a platform for brands to sell into China, and over 80% of the brands on Tmall Global make their debut into China on our platforms. It's the largest B2C cross-border e-commerce platform in China. So that means that you can sell into China to Chinese consumers basically as you would sell in your home country. As a result, we've got over 25,000 international brands from almost 100 different countries and regions, selling over 5,000 different categories of products. For those of you who've never seen a Tmall store before, this is an example of one, a UK brand, MyProtein. This is what it would look like. A majority of the customers are shopping on the app, so that's what you see here today. Now, a little bit of China context. China has 904 million internet users as of this year, approximately 3 times that of the US. And in fact, last year, China added more than the population of the UK to its internet users. So you've got in the country really sophisticated delivery networks to support that infrastructure. So if you imagine that in the major cities, you could have your groceries or your order delivered in less than 20 minutes. And you've got a country that's really comfortable with the online world. Forbes are forecasting that e-com sales will be around 50% of China retail sales by the end of this year. And you've got around 80% of Chinese consumers who are transacting online at some point. So next, we're just going to look at health trends, and we're going to start with a quick poll. Actually, no, we're not going to start with a quick poll. That's coming up in a minute. So I'm just going to give you some info on Healthy China 2030. So the health and wellness boom is being driven by China's emerging middle class. That's going to be around 780 million people in the next 5 years. So it's largely the generation who were born after the 90s, so your Generation Z, your millennials, who are, of course, digital natives. They were born with computers and phones, and they have a really global mindset. Their top priority is a healthy lifestyle. That's what they define as a good life. Around 70% or more of them are exercising regularly, and they're purchasing healthy and organic food, and they strive to achieve a work-life balance. And no surprises for many that women are a big driver of that trend. So Healthy China 2030 is actually a government initiative that was brought about from data that they found that rising levels of pollution, rising levels of obesity, of cancers, of diabetes were becoming a real problem. So they developed this program which covers 14 different streams, from healthy eating to exercise to stopping smoking to mental health, in order to get the nation up to a level that they believed would increase life expectancy from 76 to 79, and encourage and get a goal of 530 million people taking part regularly in exercise. So moving on to the vitamins and minerals supplements market share in China, it's no surprise with a population of that size that it's the world's largest market, with $4.7 billion worth. And it's forecast to grow cumulatively by 3% every year for the next 5 years. Since the pandemic, 70% of China internet users have increased their consumption of health supplements. And in fact, on Alibaba, our platforms, the purchase of healthy foods increased by 16% in the first quarter of this year. So that quarter was really when the pandemic was taking force in China. So you saw some of the bigger, long-established brands like Swisse and Blackmores seeing huge increases in their sales of immunity products when the pandemic hit. And onto fitness apps, which I'm sure many of you have started using. At-home fitness is also growing in China. One of the biggest apps there is called Keep Fitness. In fact, it's the largest, and it has over 200 million users, and it offers pre-recorded sessions, live stream classes for users to use at home. So if you just, to put that into context, Strava's got 42 million users, and UK famous Joe Wicks has got 2.2 million subscribers to his channel. So now we are in fact moving to our first poll. So I would love people to tell me, what is the #1 health issue affecting Chinese people? Do you think it is eye health, sleep issues, immunity, or gut health? So I'll just give you a minute or so to choose your option. And in fact, Brad, I'm not able to see the results of the poll while I'm sharing my screen. So perhaps you could jump on and tell me the results of the poll,
can.
please.
We'll wait for 80% of the people to have voted before we give the percentages on that one. Okay, so we've got 13% on eye health, 40% sleep issues, 20% immunity, and 27% gut health.
Oh, we have a very informed audience. Sleep issues are the #1 health trend and concern in China. So the stress of working long hours is having a huge impact on China people. So the trend for supplements which will help you relax, help you calm down, and that encourage sleep are very much in demand. Another reason that people do struggle with sleep in China is also gaming. They're a big nation of gamers. So again, products that help you relax after you've been staring at a screen for a long time. Topic #2 is meal replacements. So these have been brewing for a while, actually. They help people on the go. So Chinese people, like many of us, they are super busy all the time. So they're looking for something that they can chuck in their rucksack, take with them to work, have after the gym, busy mums on the go, something healthy and nutritious that they can drink to keep a healthy, balanced lifestyle and require little preparation. Some of the brands that we work with, one of the incumbents is SlimFast from the UK. It's been in China for several years, does pretty well. But what we're seeing now are some newer brands. So one of them is Exante Diet from the Hut Group in the UK. They entered earlier this year, and in fact what they're doing is tailoring some of their range and releasing 3 flavors that will cater specifically to the China market, that differs from what they would offer in the West. So they will soon have a matcha tea, a milk tea, and a latte flavored nutritional shake. And that really competes and positions them alongside some of the Chinese brands that we've seen doing really well in this field. So brands like Wonderlab and Smeal, who produce essentially powder in a bottle, so very lightweight to carry with you, and then you can add whatever you want to it. Water, coconut milk, almond milk, whatever. And they come in obviously really popular flavors for the China market, things like sesame, red bean, matcha tea. So they're a really good on-the-go snack for the community. Next is immunity. So it will be no surprise that immunity has really boosted in demand over the last 6 months. It is the biggest sector of the health and wellness industry in China. It accounts for around 27% of sales. And on Tmall Global specifically, 71% of supplement buyers are under 40. And the reason that that's so important is because in China, they react very preventatively. They don't wait until they have a problem to solve it. They prepare in advance. So they like to take supplements to ensure that they are at optimum fitness. And the pandemic's really heightened that. So there's a big demand at the moment for just your essential daily vitamins, your vitamin A, B, C, at affordable prices. And then another trend, which many of you will know is also growing around the world, is gut health. So probiotics have really grown recently. 64% of parents have bought probiotic supplements for their children. And that's not yogurts, that is supplements. And then also women is a big category for that market. There's an interesting UK brand called Proven, which launched onto Tmall Global last year, which offers a probiotic supplement for women's health specifically. And as that understanding about the importance of gut health and how it impacts your overall health grows, this becomes a bigger and bigger trend. The next section of trends is older health. So the pandemic saw, they refer to it as older, but really it's only over 40, so it's not that old. But more people over 40 shopping on the internet for the first time because of the limitations on being able to go outside. So what that means is that there's now greater demand for products that serve the aging population. So eye supplements, brain health, glucosamine for joint health, and products for menopause are really, really in demand at the moment. One of the brands that does really well actually is Joint Ace by Vitabiotics, that launched just earlier this year and is doing phenomenally well because of this demand. Next, we've got inner beauty. So beauty was one of the first big trends. In fact, it's the biggest category on Tmall Global. But in the vein of preventative health and maintaining a younger look, people are looking for supplements that they can take which will keep them looking young. So fish oils from the Nordics are a really popular subcategory, and one of the standout brands that we work with is Noromega from Norway, which offers fish and seal collagen supplements. Some other interesting brands which use more novel consumption methods are Hairburst, which sells hair and nail gummies, and Perfecto by Vitabiotics, which offers a collagen drink shot for your skin, hair and nails. So really through lockdown, people having a little bit more time on their hands by not having to commute, saw an even bigger rise in self-care. So that inner beauty from beauty treatments and skincare really does prove that beauty starts from within. Next, we've got plant-based. So plant-based sales, they grew over 350% during the 618 campaign that happened in June of this year. So something like soy milk has obviously been in China for years, but one of the first Western brands to pioneer into the market was actually Swedish brand Oatly. They've been there for about 5 years, and they saw the opportunity to serve the needs of the 86% of Chinese people who are actually lactose intolerant. Earlier this year, we saw very hipster East London brand Minor Figures launch on Tmall to serve the market. So it just shows that you can be a huge brand entering China, but you can also be a small SME brand who goes in and really captures a market share. And then on the more alternative meat side, Beyond Meat, which is a US-based plant protein brand, they've made a massive impact in China. So they've secured partnerships with Starbucks, with KFC, with Taco Bell, Pizza Hut, and they have recently just started selling in Fresh Hippo supermarkets. So they serve the approximately 5% of Chinese people who identify as vegetarian or vegan, which sounds a small number, but actually that is a 17% increase over the last 5 years. So it is a growing market. And McKinsey recently conducted a survey about habits after the pandemic, and it found that over 70% of respondents will continue to spend more time purchasing safe, eco-friendly food products, and that 3/4 of those want to eat more healthily after the crisis. So then we've got traditional teas and honey. So these are something I won't spend huge amounts of time on, but traditional tea and honey are things that have been around for obviously centuries. And the Chinese really do believe in the centuries-old way of being healthy. Traditional Chinese medicine is something incredibly ingrained in their society and beliefs. But what is really in demand right now are black teas and just everyday honey. So everyday prices, that's what they're looking for. And then the final trend that I'm going to talk about is medical devices and over-the-counter supplements. So again, a bit more time on your hands, and people in China have really been looking for at-home use products. Obviously with salons shut, they spending more time on Zoom calls. They want to make sure that they look great. So the beauty device category with LED face masks for anti-aging, for acne treatment, IPL hair removal. One of the brands we work with is a Welsh SME called Smooth Skin. Their sales actually grew 35 times in the first 2 years. And I imagine they've been growing even more since the pandemic, because that's what people are looking for. But then you've also got more serious medical machines, such as the TENS machines. So a brand called TENS Care, which offers a product which will help relieve pain for pregnancy. In China, that product has actually been doing really well as a post-pregnancy usage for weight loss. And then LV's pelvic floor trainer, and then again, even more serious products like blood pressure monitors and temperature thermometers have been increasing in demand. So in summary, there are lots of trends going on in the health and wellness category. What we would recommend to brands is to find your niche, do your research, and then start preparing to enter the market, because there is certainly a big demand for this category as we hopefully move out of this pandemic. So the next topic that we're going to talk about is shopping festivals. So again, we're going to start with a poll. So question for you all: Singles Day is bigger than which US shopping day? A, Cyber Monday, B, Black Friday, C, Small Business Saturday, or D, Thanksgiving Day. So you can choose as many as you like here. And again, Brad, if you wouldn't mind sharing the results with me.
I certainly will. We're at 50%, 94%. That's good. Right, we've got 28. Oh, hang on, it's 100% now. Okay. 30% respond Cyber Monday, 50% Black Friday, 10% Small Business Saturday, and 10% Thanksgiving Day.
Okay, interesting. Well, the answer is actually Alibaba's 11/11 Singles Day outstrips all of the biggest 4 US shopping days.
Wow, there you go.
There you go. So that's a little fun fact for you. So what is it? What is Singles Day? So Singles Day is actually the biggest campaign of the Chinese shopping festival calendar. It started 12 years ago now with just 27 brands online at Tmall. It was a shopping day that was actually invented by Alibaba Group CEO, Daniel Zhang, who needed to get another shopping campaign in the calendar. And fast forward to now, last year's gala show was headlined by Taylor Swift. The GMV on the day hit $38.4 billion US. That was achieved in 24 hours. There were over 200,000 brands and merchants who participated. It was a 26% year-on-year growth. 1.3 billion orders were delivered by the Sanyao Logistics Network. And over 1 million new products were launched on the day. So some of the top countries that were selling were Japan, the US, Korea, Australia, Germany, and the UK at number 6. So it's a really exciting time to be a brand in China, to have the opportunity to take part in Singles Day. But really, why are shopping festivals so important in China? Well, they're really essential for brand building. They're not just about running promotions or discounts. They are an opportunity and an important occasion for brands to engage with new and existing customers. Going into China is not something that you do overnight, and it is a long-term investment opportunity. So even preparation for Singles Day will start in May, ready for November. But as a brand, you really do need to see China as a long-term goal. But the benefit of it is that you can use the data that you collect after these big shopping campaign days, and you can really dive deep into what your sales were, where your traffic came from, and see your customer demographics to see who you can target, and then be more specific and build that loyalty in the future. On the shopping campaign days, generally, customers already know what they want to buy, hence that advanced preparation. But the 3 top factors for buying on a campaign day are, firstly, price discounts, secondly, social engagement. So they were either referred, they found something from a KOL, the celebrity, they saw the gala show, they maybe played the Catch the Cat gamification game, or it's an exclusive product, a new release or a limited edition. So shopping festivals kind of become shop-attainment. They become family affairs, as you see here. This family are playing Catch the Cat, unlocking a deal, going to have pizza at a restaurant. And they can unlock all sorts of promotional codes and limited editions. So they incorporate this element of fun into shopping. That gala show that Taylor Swift was at, that's streamed on Youku. So people can watch that at home and then play the games as it's happening, add them to their basket, and then check out at midnight. So this really helps to incorporate the online and the offline world, because while it started as an online festival, really these campaigns, these shopping festivals, they now take place all over the country. So also in shopping malls, you can go in, you can, I remember being in my first Singles Day in China 3 years ago in Shanghai, walking into a mall, and there was a Clinique screen in front of me, so I could choose which lipstick I wanted to potentially buy, and it would scan my face and it would show how that lipstick would look on me. Levi's also do it. They will help you find your fit of jean, and then you can either take it home with you there, or you can have it delivered to your home. So this concept of online and offline integration is what we call new retail, and it really does make it a seamless integration of a shop-attainment day. So now we're going to move to another poll. Adidas and McDonald's collaborated on a pair of sports shoes for Singles Day 2019. Do you think that is true or false?
I'll let you know as soon as we
And
have
once again, Brad, I wait with
80% response rate. Yep, we're seeing 91% saying true.
We do have an incredibly informed audience today. In fact, yes, it is true. This is the sneaker that Adidas and McDonald's produced here on the left. And also we saw Chinese brand Anta do similar with Sprite. This was really impactful because what you've got here are the combination of streetwear, which is a huge trend in China, and really well-known fast food brands, which come together and created a really exciting, interesting, fun, recognizable lifestyle product. So that last element of why people shop on Singles Day is really encaptured here, because it's all about doing something unexpected. We've also seen lip gloss brand Perfect Diary collaborate with a Kronenberg flavored beer. We saw MAC lipstick collaborate with a mobile computer game, Honor of Kings. So they created this game that had virtual storytelling, and it tapped into these millennial consumers. And in fact, the MAC lipstick secured 14,000 pre-orders and then sold out with all channels within the first 24 hours. So expect the unexpected on these shopping days. It's almost a test bed to do something fun, but really you need to use the data and prepare and market to your target customer way in advance in order to make the most of the day. So now we're going to move on to our final section, live streaming. So last poll of my section, question to you, what is Weya? Do you think it is a promotional tool, a lipstick brand, a KOL, or a city in southern China?
I can honestly say I have no idea about this one. Waiting for the responses to come through. We have 50-50 split between a promotional tool and a KOL.
Interesting. Okay, well, Weya is a KOL, a key opinion leader. In fact, she is one of China's most famous key opinion leaders, and she really became famous by being a Taobao live streamer. Live streaming has really taken off in China. Literally, you can sell anything via live stream, from wine to lipstick to luxury cars, and as you can see here, even a rocket. Weya recently sold a rocket through live streaming for $5.6 million US. But what makes live streaming so special? Well, it's real time, it's interactive, and it enables you to see now and buy now. So as you can see here, people are writing comments on the screen as she's live streaming. There are options to purchase. It's very engaging for the shopper. And I just want to emphasize like how much live streaming has grown in the last couple of years. So after Singles Day, the second biggest campaign in China is the summer campaign, 618. So it happens on the 18th of June. And in 2018, so just 2 years ago, Taobao livestream generated 100 billion RMB, which is around 15 million US dollars in GMV from live streaming. This year in 618 campaign, there were 15 brands who generated more than 100 million RMB, so that 15 million US dollars, just from live streaming. So it has grown really, really fast. And also the number of live streaming sessions grew 123% year on year. So let's have a little look at some of the brands which have been successful through live streaming, because it doesn't have to be just a brand. Firstly, we've got the British Museum. Last month, they live streamed a tour of their exhibits to 370,000 Chinese people who are not able to travel right now because of the pandemic. So they were able to give a tour of the museum, bring it into their homes by partnering with Fliggy, which is Alibaba's travel business, and they were able to enjoy the museum. And more seriously, the issue with crops and farmers who were producing stock which really didn't have anywhere to be sold as the pandemic hit because restaurants were closed. So their stock really would have gone to waste. However, farmers started live streaming. So they went full force on this, actually. Not only did they live stream, they also created an agricultural based game to play with it. So that enabled them to sell 250,000 kilos of fresh fruit on day one of 618 this year. And that shopping game featured cherries from Chengdu, it featured rice from Harbin, passion fruit from Kunming. And at its peak, there were 100 million consumers a day playing this game, and it contributed to 1 billion RMB in sales of agricultural food and products that would otherwise have gone to waste. And then finally, one of the brands that took part is Whittard of Chelsea. So they've tried lots of different types of live streaming, including a live stream with Weya, really with the goal of raising brand awareness with consumers. They wanted to keep their existing consumers, but they also wanted to acquire more. So one thing that they found was that their bestsellers in China were not the same as their bestsellers in the UK. So that then enabled them to use that data to drive more specific targeting towards their future customers on their Tmall stores. And some of the lessons they learned is that you need to be fast. Live streaming opportunities with people like Weya, they can come up really quickly with often only 4 or 5 days notice. And as a brand, you don't really choose these big famous KOLs, they choose you. So you have to be ready to act and take advantage of the opportunity. This here is the lipstick guy, Li Jiaqi, also known as Austin Lee. man of many names, and also a man able to sell many lipsticks. He once tried on 380 shades of lipstick in a 7-hour live stream, and in 5 minutes sold 15,000 lipsticks. So he's a super popular guy in China. In Singles Day last year, he sold $145 million of sales, generating an audience of 36 million. So lots of stats there about how popular he is. But some tips for using the live stream format. Firstly, you really have to be prepared for the volume of stock that you could sell on a live stream. People like the lipstick guy and Weya are really powerful influencers, and they have the ability to help you sell lots and lots of stock. So really be prepared for those big stock keeping units. And it's quite an informal way of selling. You have to be prepared for letting go of your perfections. It is quite a casual and informative way of selling. So that is really what makes it so engaging. And sometimes live streaming can be about working with these big KOLs, but also at other times it can be really about having good knowledge, particularly with the health industry, with OTC products, with pharma products, with mother and baby products. The audience want to know that they are being sold a product that will really serve their needs. So it's critical that the live streamer that you can work with at times really does know your product and can sell it authentically. So essentially live streaming it's quite low risk, but can be high return way of working in China. And it really can encourage creativity amongst brands. So in summary, retail is now entertainment in China. It enables you to explore and discover, to share and recommend, to watch short videos, to play games, to engage in live streaming. So what will that hold for the future of commerce in China and the rest of the world? Well, we think it's going to be pretty exciting, very dynamic, interactive, real-time engagement, a full immersion experience. Thank you.
Yeah. Lots covered there and lots of opportunity. And I just wanted to say, I think one great way to think about this is to think creatively about how you apply these learnings. You might not have, I'll just turn my video on. You might not have a product, say, but if you find an angle related to that in your marketing, you can use that to connect with the audience better. So that was awesome.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for that. Just a reminder, if you have any questions at all, pop those into the chat and we'll get to them at the end of the session. Next up, I'd like to welcome Yuman to continue things with her presentation on KOLs and short video. And I've got the slides up now, so if I can bring those up and we'll click through to Yunman's section. And Yunman, if you unmute and turn on your video.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yep, working well. Perfect. Thank you so much. Thanks for bearing with us, everyone, while we get the slides back on. There we go.
Yep, that's my part. Thank you for Zarina's sharing very interesting news about Chinese health industry and also live streaming. Now I will dive you deeper into the KOLs in China. Just as Zarina said, Chinese retailing is entertainment now. So KOLs who are creating the entertainment content on the internet as well as social media are very important for your success in China. Depending on the followers number, KOLs in China can be divided into the top tier KOLs such as the Via and Li Jiaqi, just Zarina shared with us before, and also mid-tier KOLs who have less followers but more focused in one area, some niche areas. And the bottom is micro KOLs. It's also called like KOC, the key opinion customers, who have just several thousand followers on social media, but they are have the most close connection with the customers, so have best engagement with the customers. The top tier KOLs can bring a very big exposure for your brand and products, but the micro KOLs can build a very good engagement for your brand and the customers. Can you change to the next slide, bro? Oh yeah, I can control it myself, sorry. Exposure and traffic brought by KOLs can help to build the buzz for new product, for the new product getting to the Chinese market. And also customer trust KOLs more than the ordinary advertisers. So the customer bring by the KOLs have bigger loyalty to the brand and the product, and their way it can offer a better long-term performance and helpful for the brand building. KOLs existed in all kinds of platforms in China, and there is a model that is proven in practice that's very useful and helpful for the brand to have the good performance already. That is combine the KOL and the KOC, which is the top tier KOL has the biggest follower group, and KOC, the key opinion customers who has only thousands followers but better engagement with the customers. Therefore, your brand can have a good exposure offered by the KOL and also being trusted by the customers who have good connection with the KOC. And the KOC bring the trust to the customer, can better trigger the buy behavior for your brand. Here is an example from a Chinese cosmetic brand called Floria's. This brand is founded in 2017 and has become a big hit across China since 2018. This brand also reached $14 million sales within just 1 hour in the last year's single day shopping festival. How this brand can achieve that? It's firstly use celebrity endorsers to help build brand awareness among people, and also cooperating with the top tier KOLs, which is the Li Jiaqi. He give the brand a very good exposure to Chinese consumers, and the content of Li Jiaqi is very product oriented, focused on how this product is good and how it is suitable for the customers. However, some customers may still feel concerned about the product, not very trust in the content from Li Jiaqi and also the celebrity endorsers, because everybody knows that this is advertising from the brand. So the micro KOLs, which also known as KOC, the key opinion customers, they share their user experience of the products and build the trust with customers, communicate with the customers. Therefore, the customers who know these products from the top tier KOLs and celebrities also know this product from their trusted bloggers, their trusted opinion leaders who have just several thousand followers on the internet, and they found this might really be a good fit for them, and so they would trigger the purchase activity of the customers. So how to make a successful KOL campaign in China? First of all, you need to be aware that there are some fake KOLs whose fans quality is not good and cannot at all drive real traffic to your brand, your product, and drive the sales to your product. Secondly, you should know your audience and find the right KOLs. You should know your audience are and what kind of KOLs they are following, and find the coincidence of the KOLs followers and your target audience. Third, you should choose the right channel and creative types. For example, if you want to promote a food product, which should be better to use video and or live streaming, so that the KOLs can show your product in different dimensions instead of just a picture and a word. But if it is cosmetic products, it would be fine using just the picture and words. Fourth, you should make good use of macro and micro KOLs, because the KOC, the key opinion leaders, sometimes can bring very good cost efficiency to promote a product. And if you have the money, the budget, it's also very nice to combine with the top tier KOL and also the middle tier KOLs to boost the exposure. The next is optimize the KOL combination, because for different KOLs, they may have their followers may have some coincidence. For example, KOL A and KOL B, they have like if they have like 15% coincident followers, and KOL A and KOL C, they have only like 20% coincident followers, then you should choose a combination of KOL A and KOL C to have a better reach. So the next one is customer centralized content. For a KOL campaign, you cannot just make the content that to only to show up that how good is the brand, to blur the brand product. You should focus on what the customer need and what they want, and what the product can solve their need, and to solve some pain points, so that the content can stand out and inspire the customers, and also inspire other KOLs. Maybe you don't cooperating with them, and they will also try to share the product as well. The last but the not least one is be well prepared of your delivery capability and your customer service, because KOLs have a very strong ability to trigger the sales. If you cannot deliver the product properly, then it can be a very bad effect on your brand as well as your products. The next part I'm talking about is short video. Short video become super popular after the epidemic breakout in Europe, in America, in Australia, and all around the world. TikTok, people get addicted to TikTok, because TikTok and also other short video platforms in China, they use AI-driven recommendations, so that you cannot stop yourself to see what's the next. And in China, despite Douyin, which is TikTok in the West, there also have Kuaishou, Xigua Shipin, Bilibili, and some others. And from the data in this January, we see that 1 of every 3 Chinese is watching Douyin video every day. And there is also a rapid growth of the screen time spending on short video platform after the Corona breakout. You can see in the chart, in 2019 Chinese New Year, there were only 11% of screen time on average is spent on the short video platform. But in the Chinese New Year in 2020, it grows to 17%. the average screen time. So it's just like the shift from newspaper to the TV show, and from the TV show to the internet. Now it's shift from all of the others to the short video platforms. And we all know that we should, when making the advertising and trying to raise customers' attention, we need to chase every opportunity of the customers. And the last thing you need to know is that short video platform in China is not just short video. It can also combine with e-commerce in many different ways. Firstly, platforms like Douyin, they already have built-in e-commerce platform that you can directly buy in the Douyin application. And secondly, you can use the landing page from the short video platform to the e-commerce platform to easily buy the products that mentioned in the short video. So it forms a complete chain from attention to interest to desire and taking to action to purchase. The last thing is how to create value through short video platforms. First, there are 3 suggestions for all the brands, no matter in the West or in China. You can do content marketing or advertising, and in content marketing, you can both cooperating with KOLs who already shown in the short video platform and already have a group of fans and already have the experience to produce the high quality content. You can also operating a brand account to start from the beginning and to build your own audience, your own group of fans, and to bring the value in a long term. The third one is you can also do advertising on short video platforms. The advertising on short video platform doesn't look different from the ordinary content. It's very important for the marketers to keep in mind is that the content of your advertising should also be very funny and should be very attractive so that people would not sweep out of your content and will be engaged into the content. Thank you for listening, and let's welcome Thomas from WalktheChat to bring his content.
So let me figure out how to share this. And here, I just share my screen.
Just want to let everyone know that we're overtime today. That's all right. There's no need to rush. If you do have to go, that's fine. We'll send you a recording afterwards. So don't feel any pressure, Thomas, to go through this at a fast pace. Quality is what matters.
Okay. No, people should not leave. We will not send them a recording if they leave. I want them to stay. So I was saying, okay, can people see my screen right now or still not? Hello? Ooh. Can you see my screen right now?
Yep, we're seeing that. That's working.
Okay, terrific. So hi everyone. So we'll talk about a bit about WeChat marketing. Feel free to write if you have any questions as I speak. Feel free to write if you have any problem understanding my French accent, which is quite pronounced, I know. The presentation is kind of stepping up quite fast. So we'll start with some very basic stuff. So if you're already familiar with China, you might get bored. Don't worry, hopefully I will only bore you for around 5 to 8 minutes with basic concept, and then we'll move to case studies and more practical numbers about how to run WeChat marketing in China. So about me, I have 6 years experience as a co-founder of WalktheChat, which is an agency which specializes in social marketing in China. So WeChat, Douyin, Xiaohongshu, and others. We help some big companies, but also some small companies to sell in China. And before that, I was doing some stuff. It's pretty boring. I won't bother you with that. Sorry, I'm having a problem with the sharing thing. Can you? Something weird is happening right now. No. Okay. Yeah, can you still see my screen? Yeah? Still good?
Cool. No, it has stopped, but we can go back to the slides because the slides have all your content in there, if that's easier.
Yeah, no, sorry, I will share it again.
I've just brought it up, so if you want to take it from there, and you can use your keyboard to navigate to the slides with the arrow keys, or you can...
No, it should be back now, right? Is it?
Yeah, we're back now. That works.
Okay, cool. So first, I would like to talk about the impact of COVID on our Chinese e-commerce sales and WeChat sales. So just to give you a sense, on our own platform, what we saw is basically a drop in January and February, and a recovery as early as March. So if you look at December, so this is comparison with the same months last year. So December is a baseline. This is before the epidemic. Our merchants grew 16% on average. So this is just organic growth from the fact that they did a better and better job at selling on WeChat. Then during the epidemic, the sales dropped by 48% in January, by 31% in February. So already you could see a recovery. It only drops by 31% year over year. Basically, the first half of February was very rough, but the second half was much better. And then in March, you could see a full recovery. So sales were actually much better than the previous year, better than the baseline in December. April was extremely good because a lot of sales moved online, but still people were quite confident about the future. So they were buying a lot. And there was a bit of relief after the epidemic peak. And then in May, it stabilized around 47% increase compared to May 2019. So very, very good year for e-commerce. If you look at some external data, if you look at, for instance, the sales during the 618 shopping festival, or the sales of JD.com, you can see that JD actually got JD.com, the marketplace, got an excellent growth from 2019 to 2020. The growth has started to slow down between 2018 and 2019. But you can see that during the last festival, which happened during the 1st of June to the 18th of June 2020, the growth of sales increased by 30% again, 33%, all the way up to 269 billion RMB of sales for JD during these 18 days. So you can see really the strength of the e-commerce market in China right now, which has really fully recovered and which is beating its performance from last year. So what I'm going to tell you now is how to use WeChat to sell through this e-commerce market. So WeChat, as you might know, is the biggest social app in China today. It has around 1.2 billion monthly active users, and it's still growing, although the growth of WeChat is slowing, of course, because pretty much all of the internet users in China already have the app installed, so it can't really grow very fast anymore. And the app, I won't spend a lot of time on this. This is the boring, basic part of the presentation. Is actually split between 3 different sections. One is chat section, similar to Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, and this is where people can communicate with their friends, but also actually with brands. You have the timeline, which is called WeChat Moments, which is similar to the Facebook timeline. And you have the wallet where people can access e-commerce features. And the brands, as I said, weirdly enough, use the chat section to communicate with users. So you have two types of accounts, what's called service accounts, which appear as friends. And when they send out messages, it's exactly like if a friend would send you a message. So they are very good, for instance, for customer service. And then you have something called subscription accounts, which are less visible. They are in a specific folder called the subscription folder. They are more used by influencers to send up daily articles to the followers. So basically, these two types of accounts have a trade-off between visibility and number of messages. The service accounts are more visible, but they can only send 4 messages every month, about 1 per week. And the subscription accounts, they are less visible because people have to click into this folder to see all of the subscriptions, but they can send 1 message every day. So they're actually less visible, but have more frequency of posting. So they are mostly used by influencers who want to publish some fresh content every day. So one important addition to this ecosystem was WeChat Mini-Programs. So basically, WeChat Mini-Programs enable users to easily access some e-commerce experience or other type of experiences within WeChat. There are apps within the app which are written with a specific programming language. So they can be easily accessed from the homepage of WeChat, so just by sliding down, and then you can see your favorite mini-programs. And they have this kind of native experience, native transitions, which makes them very, very nice to use. They also have some nice features like the ability to automatically get the address from the user, and of course, WeChat payment to close the sales. So it makes them quite powerful, and they can also integrate directly from influencer campaign. So if you have an influencer post, you can actually click on a product inside the influencer post, and it will automatically open the mini program. So it enables to have very good integration between content from influencers and sales. And basically, the users can just click on the influencer product, then the mini program will automatically have their address, and they can click payments. So they can go into 3 or 4 clicks from discovering a product through influencer content to completing the purchase, which leads to very interesting return on investment on campaigns, as we'll talk about later. In the matter of time, because the time is limited, I will just skip this part, but basically the big idea is that mini programs are hosted on your own server, so you can easily control the data and control the experience compared to other applications like JD or Tmall, which are more marketplaces. So you are basically renting space in somebody else's home. And a little bit of advertising for what we provide at WalktheChat. We are the first solution which enables to integrate between WeChat Mini-Program and Shopify or Magento. So it means if you have a Shopify or Magento website, we can enable you to export these products to a WeChat Mini-Program. When you receive orders, they would appear on this your Shopify website. And when you fulfill these orders, we will send the logistic information to the end user via WeChat, and they will be able to track the delivery of their order through the WeChat Mini program. There are a lot of advantages of using this integration rather than just using a Shopify website in China. The login methods will be much better. It will automatically log in users via WeChat. The checkout experience will enable autofilling of the email address. The system will automatically verify the ID of the user, which will help to clear customs. Notifications will happen via WeChat and SMS instead of emails that people don't really read in China, except for professional use. Transitions will be native. Speed will be fast because it's hosted in China and directly by WeChat. User experience will be much more Chinese-friendly. Payments will be via WeChat Pay and Alipay. It will easily integrate with KOL campaigns, and it's much easier for users to access the store after they leave it because, as we said, it will be accessible in just a swipe in the recently used WeChat Mini-Programs. So a lot of upsides of using mini-programs rather than just a traditional website. The questions you might have now is how to promote these mini programs. So here, this has been presented previously, but I just like to get into a bit more detailed case studies from some of our clients. So influencer collaboration is the best way to leverage WeChat. The way you do it is very classic. You identify influencers, give them the product. This will get you some free exposure. If this free exposure is positive, you will arrange a paid campaign, and then you would encourage the influencers to keep engaging with your brand after the campaign. The typical cost of influencer campaigns on WeChat is actually really high in terms of cost per impression. So with the price of a WeChat view, you can buy 15 views on Douyin, so on short video platforms, which make it sound very, very expensive. But actually, if you look at the detail of it, although in order to purchase 1,000 KOL impressions, you would have to spend 1,100 RMB on WeChat against only 65 RMB on Douyin. There is a big difference in terms of the value of the products you can buy on WeChat compared to the value of the products you can buy on Douyin. Douyin typically is perfect for promotion of products between 1 to 200 RMB, while for WeChat there is really no limit. There is a famous case study that Becky Lis, which is a very, very famous WeChat influencer, sold 100 Mini Coopers in 5 minutes using WeChat. But in general, you can use WeChat to sell relatively expensive items. For us, the average order on our WeChat Store platform is around $128. So it's not super high, but it's definitely not low. It's 900 RMB on average, which is pretty high for an e-commerce platform. If you would compare that to average order on Douyin, it will be much closer to maybe 100 RMB, so maybe a tenth of this amount. So that is a big difference in terms of what you want to promote. If it's an affordable product, you might want to do it on Douyin. If you're trying to sell, let's say, a handbag for 2,000, 3,000 RMB, then you will want to go on WeChat. So as I said, we start with seeding usually. So the process of gifting products to influencers. So usually the return on seeding can be very good, but usually it's not directly sales. What you get from seeding is more PR. So you would get through gifting some mentions, which typically would cost several $1,000s if you were to pay the influencer to talk about this brand in this way. But because when you do gifting in general, the influencer will not add an e-commerce link to your mini program, it will be hard to drive sales directly from that. Seeding is mostly used for PR to drive some small amount of sales and to build a relationship with influencers. Once you do this, and it can bring some good results. We did that also for Hunter Boots with some in UK with quite a bit of a return on the first week of launch of the WeChat store, and we got about $15,000 worth of free promotion in a month simply by gifting 20 products to influencers, by being very strategic to whom we were doing the gifting, and 3 million impressions, free impressions on WeChat and Weibo via gifting. So gifting does work. It's just that it's not the heaviest driver of sales. The heaviest driver of sales is paid campaigns. In order to really move volumes, you actually need to pay the influencers either via commissions or via fixed fee. So for instance, in this case, this is a campaign we did with a brand called Giswine, which is a merino wools sneakers brand. So very similar to Allbirds. And the first campaign they did in China led to 500% return on investment. So we paid the influencer $6,000 and generated $30,000 of sales. So this is the kind of returns we aim for when we work for clients. This is a relatively good campaign. It's hard to get this kind of returns, but it's possible. If you want to look at more of reasonable return on investment, this is a campaign we conducted in June 2020, so just a bit more than a month ago after COVID, and this was a commission-based campaign. So the influencer took 35% from the sales of this bag, generated around $35,000 of sales. And this was also the first campaign for the brand, so relatively successful. Of course, you can run bigger campaigns, have more sales, but this is just to give you a sense of what a relatively small campaign is on WeChat, or medium-sized campaign, which will move between $20,000 to $50,000 of sales, and which is a very good way for brands to get started selling in China via social. So this is a campaign where the average order was around $500. So that's why WeChat is a good choice for this type of campaigns. And finally, one of the interesting things with WeChat is you can use it to sell cross-border. So there are specific industries which can sell through WeChat cross-borders. I won't go through the entire list. Most of our clients are in clothing, cosmetics, and jewelry, but all of the industries in this slide can actually sell cross-border. And the nice thing with WeChat is they provide cross-border payments. So you can have the Chinese customer paying in renminbi in local currency, and you can receive the money in any overseas currencies such as US dollars, euros, British pound, etc. And WeChat will charge a 2% commission on these transactions. You don't need to set up directly with WeChat payment. You can actually have some partners in specific countries who can help you do the setup. You can click the link. It will be sent to you in the slides later in order to get a list of different partners in different countries who can help you with setting up your WeChat payment account. And another important point when it comes to cross-border sales on WeChat is that you need to have the right logistics setup. So usually you have two ways to ship to China. One is the proper way, as will be the cross-border import. So you would basically register your products with the customs, and then you would pay a flat 9.1% fixed tax on all of the cross-border shipping. This is the clean way to do the custom clearance. If you don't have this setup, you can also do personal import, which means you're gonna basically send the product as a parcel without clearing customs. And some of these products are gonna get held by the customs, and then you will have to pay full taxes on them, which might be 15, 30%, or 60% based on which category your product is in. Because not all of the parcels are gonna be controlled, you might actually end up paying less than in the cross-border import. It's just a more complicated way to ship, and it will slow down the custom clearance process. You also have to make sure that if the parcel gets held up by the custom, it is not the customer who's going to pay this, but it will be hopefully your logistic provider who will help to pay this fee, so that the customer doesn't have to front it, which would cause a lot of customer service issues. And if you start moving to like a more local logistic setup, you could have your products either in Europe or US or in other geography and ship from there, in which time you will be able to ship it within usually 5 to 10 days, maybe 5 to 15, depending on where you're located. You could have a Hong Kong warehouse, in which case you can ship it to mainland China in 4 to 7 days, or you could have a bonded warehouse in mainland China. The problem with that is that your inventory you will be able to ship much faster, but your inventory is going to be committed to mainland China. So in this case, it will be very hard if you decide to reallocate this inventory to other geographies to move it out of mainland China because you already cleared the customs. So yeah, these are the three options, and they go faster and faster in terms of shipping, but they also require more and more commitment of inventory. So usually our clients will start on the left and then they will move to the right as the volumes of sales increase. I just include here like a typical quotation, but I won't go through it. You will have it in the slides. So as a conclusion to this very, very fast presentation, but I was suggested to keep it to around 15 minutes. The Chinese digital ecosystem has fully recovered from COVID and is now booming. WeChat growth is slowing down, but it's still the #1 social network in China, and it's great for e-commerce. and also is the best to promote more expensive items. Foreign businesses can create service accounts to promote their brand. WeChat Mini-Programs are a must-have if you want to sell on WeChat. WeChat influencers are the most expensive, but they will be the best to promote premium items. And WeChat cross-border sales are a powerful way for companies to get started in China, preferably with Shopify integration through WalktheChat. And that's it. I'm done speeding through my presentation. I hope nobody died through the excessive speed.
Well, I was able to understand you okay, so hopefully everyone tuning in was too. Well, brilliant. Thank you so much for sharing those opportunities with us, Thomas. I think the WeChat Mini-Program store stuff is just very cool because it ticks a few boxes at once in terms of setting up a point of sale.
Yeah.
Hey, Henrik.
Yeah. So then, if Zarina wants to join us as well, so we have some questions. Both questions we've received before from people who signed up for the webinar, and also now during the webinar. So I think the first one goes to you, Thomas, and it's on the new WeChat channels feature.
Yeah.
Whether that's a useful tool for the WeChat marketing. What's your thoughts on that?
So at this stage, not very much so. So we actually wrote an article on this topic where we interviewed some influencers, WeChat influencers, on their feedback on WeChat channels. So there are a lot of issues with WeChat channels. There are UX issues. So WeChat made the weird choice not to just copy the Douyin interface. So for instance, when Kuaishou, the short video platform, saw what Douyin was doing, they just took their interface, copy pasted it, and it worked very well for Kuaishou. But WeChat thought that they would not lower themselves to do that.
Can improve.
Yeah, which didn't work so well for them. So the UX of WeChat channel is not doing so well, so it's not helping. Another point is the editing capabilities of WeChat channel is very limited. So it does not really create a lot of incentives for content creators to create content. And even the overall rollout of WeChat channels is kind of doesn't really address the problem of WeChat, because WeChat today is a very top-down ecosystem. It's basically big influencers talking with customers, but there is not really any abilities for end users to express themselves. And by having this kind of top-down approach, by saying, okay, we're first going to release to big influencers, it didn't help, because basically there was not enough user-generated content. So you would just have a few influencers posting, and you would keep seeing the same content over and over again if you use WeChat channels. So they basically failed to gain much traction. So some people are still using them occasionally, but as a sales channel, as of today, it's kind of insignificant. So I would actually not recommend it.
Thanks. Then Zarina, next one I think fits you the best, which is on average, how long does it take to get started on Tmall for a food brand?
Yeah, really common question. So it can be quite quick. I'd say the main part really is finding a partner to work with, because all brands will need somebody to essentially be their e-commerce team on the ground in China. So that would either be a Tmall partner or a distributor. So we can actually help find those partners for you, but ultimately the decision is yours. So it's worth spending a bit of time finding the right one who is a good fit for your brand and who understands your category. But then after that, it can be relatively quick. Like you can be live within about a month after that. So, 2 to 3 months is probably the fastest. Obviously, some brands will take lots longer, but as I mentioned in the presentation, when you see a trend in China, the country moves really quickly. So if you see a trend that's happening, it's really, quite important to move quickly so that you can ride the crest of that wave rather than come in after everybody's a bit bored of it and moved on to something else. You can then evolve with the market.
Yeah. And I think that's quite similar to what we see as well on quite a lot of point of sales. Thomas, for the next one, if I get a WeChat Mini-Program storefront and start selling from that, what else do I need in terms of payment, warehousing, distribution, and so on? And I know you covered a lot of this in the presentation, but it's more if this triggers something else that you want to cover.
No, I mean, the payment is native to WeChat Mini-Program, right? So there is nothing specific here. It's cross-border payments. Warehousing would be, basically, we would recommend, as I said, customers to start with the current setup. So if they use DHL and for international shipping, we would help them set up with DHL so that DHL can clear customs in China. And usually we would not recommend them to change anything because the idea is to go step by step. So for instance, to maybe also plan for a Tmall launch later. Most of our clients at some point will want to launch on Tmall Global, but Tmall Global is a bit more of an investment. So the idea is to start slow with WeChat Store launch, to test the market, do some influencer marketing, and then as the brand starts to see return and feels more confident, they could set up a Tmall store with maybe a more advanced logistics setup. Because, of course, Tmall, because it has a very good tracking of reviews from users, it would also be more punishing if there is any delay of delivery. So these things need to be sorted out before a launch on Tmall in order to avoid bad ratings on a store. For WeChat, it's a bit more like flexible.
Yeah, that's what we. Yeah, no, that's what we see as well. Like what we usually do for our customers, it's kind of one or the other. Either it is starting small, maybe doing more the market research, exactly. The point of sale on WeChat, things like that, and then you grow into a Tmall Global store.
Because Tmall is inevitable at some point.
Go wider.
Tmall has too much traffic to be neglected, so it has to happen. The question is how to get the brand to the point where it can launch on Tmall and be comfortable with the investment and the return, which is a step-by-step process.
Yeah, and then we have the other type of brands which want to start on Tmall and go bigger in with the bang in the beginning, and then they actually start moving down from into WeChat and different channels, kind of like after establishing themselves on Tmall. But like you say, it very much depends on their on the budget and on their comfortableness with risk.
Yeah, and other ongoing traffic also, because a lot of brands will have a lot of organic traffic from Taobao. So in this case, there's no reason not to launch on Tmall directly if there is a lot of existing appeal for the brand, because this will generate organic sales.
Yeah, and a lot of what we also see is customers coming in is that they start to get sales in China basically on their normal international points of sales, and then they want to go to China to capitalize on that. About selling fresh produce into China, specifically meat, what first steps would you recommend? I think maybe it would be great to hear from both of you on this, starting with Zarina.
So this would fall under our Tmall supermarket arm. So firstly, the brand needs to be able to sell under general trade. So what that means is that you need to register your brand in China and register your products in China so that it meets the legal requirements to sell domestically and be imported on B2B. So that's the first thing, really. So it's definitely not for everybody. There needs to be a certain level of investment and readiness and commitment to do that. And then, it would be through our Tmall supermarket arm. There are, for those who don't know, there are many, many different business units within the Alibaba world. And the supermarket arm is really what you'd be looking at there to buy fresh products, Tmall Fresh. If anybody is interested, please come to me and we can connect you with the right people. The market really does look for things that are very good quality, that have a trace to source, and things like salmon or lobsters are really interesting. Our Fresh Hippo supermarkets actually have a fish tank within them. So if you go into them, you can go in and you can choose which lobster you want to have for lunch, and you can scan him and you can, by QR code, find out which part of the ocean he came from and who the fisherman was. So that level of transparency and the tech element is really incorporated into that fresh world. So very interesting times.
Yeah. Thomas?
Not much to add. I would not recommend go through WeChat for fresh products. I completely agree with Zarina for this. Actually, Tmall is the best choice, just because, except if the provider already has a strong logistic partner who can maintain this cold chain to China, is going to be a challenge to sell it through other channels. And so actually it's better to just go through Tmall, which already has the infrastructure for this kind of like cold chain management from overseas to China. So I would just go for Tmall or Hana, as Zarina mentioned.
Yeah, because I think also what I see is on WeChat is more, it's more the processed meat products. I see more sales over WeChat, but needs to have the longer, the longer shelf life.
That's true, but even for that, like because as I said, for when it comes to returns on investment from KOL campaigns, processed meat doesn't tend to be a very expensive item, and actually food products tend to perform very well on short video platforms. So if I were a overseas brand selling processed meat, I would actually promote it via Douyin or Kuaishou. If I were to sell something like handbags, jewelry, cosmetics, then I would look at my existing traction in China. If I have high traction already, like let's say 3,000 mentions on Red, then I would go on Tmall directly. If I have a small number of mentions and maybe a smaller brand, which is at 20, 30, 50 million US dollars of sales, not a $1 billion brand, then I would start on WeChat and then move later to Tmall. So it's really a case-by-case situation, depending on the product categories of pricing. Tmall launch might be the first step. It might be WeChat. It might be something different, like Douyin or Kuaishou.
Then we have another question that, we try to keep these webinars very non-politically infused, but I think it's still an important question to answer. So it's basically like with the US-China tension increasing, whether we see the China opportunities being impacted negatively. And I think there, just from our side, not really. I mean, of course, it depends which industry you are in. If you are affected by, if you're affected by sanctions or things like that, but generally not for the small, medium size and the normal enterprise customers. There's a lot more talk about it. But when it comes to the real opportunities for international brands in China, we see that there's still huge opportunities, and in a way also because of the challenges between China and the US. One thing it does, there are opportunities there for US-based merchants. But there's also then an increased opportunity for merchants and companies based in other countries around the world, because China is still super hungry for the product and the services. So that's our thought on that. How about you, Thomas?
I don't have much thoughts on that, besides the fact that, as I mentioned, e-commerce market in China is still growing very strong. So we do see a lot of demand from international merchants wanting to enter the market, and actually growing demand simply because China is one of the economies right now which is performing well compared to other economies. Yeah,
and that's been the trend over our webinars from the start, where we were talking about how the Chinese market is going to be an even more important market because of the quicker recovery. And that's kind of what we've seen now over the series of webinars, is we see that what we were talking about in the first has come true as we continue. Zarina, any comments on that?
Yeah, I just think that really the brands who are considering to enter China need to really look at their category. over the last year, we saw everyday health products grow by 23% on Tmall Global. And that is natural supplements to fish oils, to probiotics, to functional teas. You know, you see people like Pukka Herbs, which is a Unilever-owned functional tea and supplement brand, entering the market and doing really well because they know that it's a long game and they want to be there and position their brands there for the long term. And if you dive deeper into that, you know, meal replacements, which is one of the trends that I highlighted, that's a category that's expected to grow by 30% this year. And by 2022, it's forecast to be a 120 billion RMB market. So the opportunity is still there. You can worry about the big things, or you can focus on your brand and the opportunity that is there for your category, get specific about it, use the data and enter the market and learn. If you sit on the outskirts, you won't be able to learn as well.
Yeah, no, that's exactly what we're seeing as well. Last question before we round off, which is from an SME looking to enter the Chinese market, and how much investment they should be, from what investment they should be looking at starting with. What's your thought on that, Thomas? Retail SMEs.
It really depends on what they sell, but usually for us, the typical fees would be to set up a WeChat store at least $5,000 minimum, and then there would be some kind of management fees for the first 3 months to do a bit of customer service, gifting to influencers. And then influencer campaigns to make sense, at least need to be $5,000 to $10,000. So let's say the brand is looking to invest on 2 or 3 campaigns, plus the setup fees, plus some management fees for a few months. We're looking at, let's say, $35,000 to $50,000 for the first 3 months to do a market test, which would include influencer campaigns and hopefully generate sales, and then to build on top of that. Below that is difficult, and I assume that Tmall Global most likely would be a bit more expensive, right, Zarina?
It will vary, actually. I mean, again, like you say, Thomas, it depends what the brand and the product is. But working with a distributor, that brand is essentially just looking at selling at a margin, inclusive or exclusive of a marketing investment. Working with a trade partner, there will be fixed fees like security deposit, platform fees, Tmall takes a sales commission, factor in logistics, and then marketing investment. Marketing investment, generally, we recommend between 20 and 30% of your target sales to be invested back into marketing, and that should be both on and off platform. And then if you're working with that TP model, they would also charge a setup monthly fee and take a commission. All of our fees are on our website, so if the brand is interested, please feel free to get in touch and we can then go through exactly what they would be for you. But yeah, they're all there.
Yeah. So, but what you said, distributor model. So this would be in the case. Would that be a direct relation facilitated by Tmall, or would that be simply the brand reaching out to a distributor, and this distributor happens to have a Tmall store, so the brand will sell on Tmall through this distributor?
Yeah, a brand can work with a distributor, and essentially the distributor would run the Tmall store. We can either help the brand find that distributor, or they may already have one in mind who they work with. But of course, that we are quite careful about who we work with and who we introduce our brands to. So we do monitor the TPs and distributors we work with. They are all scored on a quarterly basis based on their performance and content and description, on logistics and delivery, and on customer service and reviews. Those scores are publicly visible on each Tmall page. So if ever you want to have a look, go and have a look. They're scored out of 5. So yeah, we monitor those TPs and distributors on a quarterly basis, and every 2 quarters, if they're not performing, we don't introduce to new brands. So yeah, there's various ways of working. It's more a case of talking to us and having a bit of a dialogue and an assessment on the brand and what opportunities are out there, and then they can go away and think about what works best for their business in terms of resources for people or financial investment. There are various ways to do it.
Cool.
Yeah, and I think for for us, what I want to add there is that it is possible to get started now in China for a lot less than it was previously. But I think the most important thing is to keep in mind the opportunity that is there now, and especially in the current environment with countries around the world really struggling and the markets really struggling. In China, it's really impressive what they've been able to do now in terms of the recovery. And I just want to say thank you very much to both of you, Thomas and Zarina, for joining us. You know, as you know, our focus is on the marketing and the advertising in China, but we get so many brands who come to us who want to start promoting their products in China, but they need a point of sale. So that's why actually a big part of what we do is then work with partners to figure out, what's the best point of sale for the brands, and get them up and running as fast as possible, so that we can help them with the advertising and the marketing and driving, the customers and the revenue that they're after. Brad, any comments from you?
No, I was just going to say the same thing, thanking Zarina and Thomas. Just thank you to everyone who's tuned in today. Appreciate you sticking this. We've gone just a little bit over time. Other than that, I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.
Thank you very much.
Cool.
Bye-bye.